Today we will lecture Chapter 6, Over Time and Motion. Specific chronologicals of time we're going to talk about today is chronology, the order of events. Narrative is a type of story. Duration is how long. Tempo is the speed of time. Actual time. Implied is the illusion of time and its passing. Recorded. All of the above captured and preserved in media. So when we think of time, it's represented all the time. Haha, no pun intended. But time is a very important factor in our lives that is constantly considered. So we've got scheduling, we've got dates, we've got alarms, all of these things. Time is constant in our lives. And so art is no different of that. This is these paintings by Monet. We're just going to look at time in art and then why it's significant. This is implied time, and it's called Haystack. So the artist, at the time, 1890 to 91, there was no cameras. If you kind of trace back the lineage of film, a lot of artists, if they were wanting to create a series of time, they would have to go back to the same spot over and over and over again. So not only do we have the implication of the subject matter, which is this haystack, we have the implication of a time of day. So we can see that represented with the colors, right? And we know the sun rises in the morning and the sun sets in the daytime. And so especially here in New Mexico, we've got lots of different colors that represent those times of day. This is another one. This was a cathedral that was painted, multiple different series. And again, this is different times of day, and then different ways the building looked. So this says dull weather. This one says sunset. This says morning effect. And the setting sun. So again, we have the implication of the subject matter, which is the cathedral, and the implication of time on the time of day. Again, another one of Monet's. He was an impressionist artist, meaning he painted of what our minds have the impersonation of, not specific images. This was very revolutionary during this art movement because a lot of things were renditioned perfectly. A lot of artists were not interested in doing more expressionistic type pieces. And this group of artists really, really broke free of that. So you've got, again, implied time of day. We see a boat here, but in the background, it can kind of be open to interpretation. So you've got, this could be a shipyard, this could be factories with smokes in the warehouse. You've got this boat right here. This could be several boats, or it could be showing this one boat in motion. Also with the waves, we know the ocean's always moving, and the sky's always moving. So those two things we know, our brains make sense of that this is in motion, movement, a part of time. We also know that the sun moves quickly. Okay, so it's like a snapshot. Andy Goldsworthy is an artist that does things specifically in nature that do not last. His entire artistry is to create sculptures that do not last. So this is actual time that's represented. As you can see over here, this was like a frozen river or a frozen little rock, a pond or something. And he had taken the pieces apart and just put them together at the perfect freezing temperature. I will post a YouTube link that I want you to watch for this week that has a really beautiful video over Andy Goldsworthy. Here's another one of his. He relies heavily on photos. He has to, because none of these art pieces will exist unless there's a photograph. Animals, he is fully aware that animals will disrupt this, nature will disrupt this, wind, people. So again, his entire documentation is based on photographs. This is another one of his, and he just collects pieces from nature that he finds and then puts them together. So now we're going to look at photography. Photos can hold multiple meanings within their series. We'll have a sequence, a group of photos that go in specific order. Narratives will include a story or scene in one photo. Implied time is implication of time within a photo. And a staged still image is set up in a studio or location for a specific purpose. This is Gregory Crewdson. He is a photographer that has these really interesting perspectives. They're still staged, still life images. They're narrative and implied, so it's all three of those in the category. The narrative is that it's creating the story. Implied is that it's an implication of time. So when people are showing their age, right? So that's an implication that he is an elder. This is an implication she is a young woman. It's implied they're at home. It looks like an American home. It could be elsewhere. So he does these really interesting photos kind of in the same places. And the whole purpose is to make it feel like the same house. He uses furniture as almost like story characters. So the chair, the furniture, the couch, the lights, you've got this really dusty type scene. It's kind of blue. We implied that there's a TV there because of the glow. It's also to think about what else is quote unquote a brief encounter. There's things that you literally encounter every single day in your life that are a part of your subconscious. The light switch, the toothbrush. Okay, so how do these things start to create relationships with us? Again, this is same artist, Gregory Crewdson. And, this scene is on a street. Again, it's staged. It's implied. There's a narrative happening here. It's a downtown. What's he doing? Why is he there? The artist wants us to ponder all of that. Jeff Wall, The Flooded Grave. It's narrative and implied. These are not staged, so these are found scenes, found photos, found objects. This one is staged, obviously, but it's called Milk, 1984, and this man is sitting on the side of the curb. It's not really meant to trick you, but it is. You're curious of what's happening, and why is he doing that? This is Jeff Wall, Invisible Man, by Ralph Ellison. The prologue, 1999 to 2000. This is narrative and implied. So the scene here is kind of a studio space for this man. And it's creating some sort of narrative story of the light bulbs. Again, implication of time, implication of person. This person looks like they do everything in one room. This I wanted to show you. A lot of the photos that we see most of the time are smaller scale, but this artist, it's Jeff Wall as well. I wanted to show you when you blow things up in a studio, in a museum, how it changes how we experience things. So when having these images larger, larger than life, quote unquote, or having the people relatively the same size as us, it changes our experience of the way we view them. This is called Dead Troops Talk. This is a stage still image. This is kind of a, obviously war rhetoric, satirical. It's gory, but, it's like there's many pictures from war that we've seen that almost look like they could come to life at any point. Sudden gust of wind. Nicholas Nixon, the Brown sisters. This is since 1975. This is a sequence for sure, sequence of time, sequence of series, sequence of photos. He has taken a photo of these sisters every single year. Since 1975. Motion. This is Alexander Calder. And his work, I will also post a YouTube video about this. His work is famous for motion. And it moves, or mobile. These are two videos that I will post in the link for this week as well. A zoetrope was one of the first ways that people had animation. And this is one of those classic machines, I'll post a YouTube video about this, that you look through the imagery and it creates a loop, invented by William George Horner in 1834. Edward Muybridge. So this was a picture of the zoetrope. So you would put it in the machine and it would go in order and look like the running horse. And then this is implied motion in a painting. This is Duchamp, nude descending a staircase. So we know that this is one single person because of how closely it is together. 1912. Again, this was pretty revolutionary during its time, showing time and motion, implied motion in an art piece. And also what I love about this is it's kind of unisex, genderless. This is an artist's rendition of that nude descending a staircase in photos. So the nude woman, it's frame by frame, taken, shot, over and over and over again. Implied time. And this is, I would say that each photo could also be actual time. That concludes Chapter 6 lecture. Look for YouTube videos that go along with this.